All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Market Close. It is Monday, January 6th, 3:45 p.m. Folks, we got a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff to discuss as we get into these final 15 minutes of what to me really feels like the first trading day of 2025. I know it's not, but it definitely feels like today is the first actual trading day of 2025. Lots of stuff has happened since the market open that we got to talk about. Couple things tonight. First of all, Robinhood Weekly is going to be from 7 to 8 o'clock, so it's not going to be at 9:30 like it usually is, because at 9:30 I'll be live streaming Jensen. So not only do we have Robinhood Weekly, but we also have the Jensen keynote tonight, which is going to be very, very important in terms of the implications it has on Nvidia and the semiconductor stocks. And so we got a jam-packed day ready to go for the end of the day. Now, in terms of where these markets are headed, so we've stayed green, and we have some headlines to discuss in terms of implications for the market. Bitcoin still above 102,000. Nvidia still basically at 150, just a smidge below. Robinhood just below $43. Fubo is up a 240%. Absolutely incredible day for Fubo shareholders. They've done very well, even as it dipped from 240 to 130%. You're back at 240%. But Palantir has not been able to catch that momentum. We'll talk about why in a second. Down about 4%. Victoria's Secret as well, down 5%. Don't know why that's down, but that's down. And then Tesla. I did make a play on Tesla today, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. But Tesla right here at 406. It did bottom at 401.7 today. And I got to a peak of 426. Right now, currently at 406, which is not bad. But it definitely wasn't as green as some of the other names that we had here today. Outside of that, folks, we are pretty damn green throughout the rest of the equity markets. Shark Ninja's up, Oklow's up 12%, GameStop ended up going up 4%, Grab is up 1.77%, PayPal's up 2%, all the Bitcoin names are up, Marathon's up, CleanSpark's up, Coinbase is up, MSTR is up, Rocket Lab hit $30 today, right now 28.87, MicroStrategy up 10.9%. I didn't even know MSTR was up 10%. Last time I saw it, it was up 5%. So this one's doing very well. S&P giving back some of its gains. As you can see right here, a little bit of a fall off from the mountaintop, 599.7 to 594.23. Still up about 40 bips on the day, not up as much as it was before. The Qs are up 1%. Again, Qs were at 527, now at 523, but still green. And then IWM, small caps, are actually flat on the day, down about 0.02%. But overall, the indices are green. Most individual stocks outside of Palantir and Tesla are green. And Bitcoin, basically at 102,000, is green. So, I mean, it still feels pretty damn bullish, even with all of the red that we're seeing in certain individual names that are big names, you know, that are exciting for all of us. Tess, Michelle, Matt Money, Ryan, Bayray, Reaper, Gatekeeper, what's up, what's up, what's up? Chamu, what's up? Richmond, Bsaw, thank you all for being here today. We are getting into this market close. Now, let's get into the first story of today that I want to talk about, and then we'll get into some individual names, which is this freaking 10-year. Here's the question, folks. Do you think it's topped? There's a couple people today saying they feel the 10-year has topped out. I kind of want to say I think the 10-year is topping out at 4.624. And the reason I think it's topping out is because the rest of the market is going green while the 10-year is going green, kind of implying that the market doesn't think that the 10-year is going to go that much higher. We're going to see if that actually happens. But as of now, I think that's one of the biggest stories of the day is that the market does not believe that this 10-year can continue to go that much higher. Maybe the 10-year does go to 4.7 or 4.8%, but will it stay at those levels while equities are left to struggle, given that equities are not struggling today? So that 10-year, I think, is one thing we have to keep an eye on. The Canadian dollar also reached new highs today after Justin Trudeau officially resigned as the head of the Liberal Party and the Prime Minister. Now, this new guy, who I'm going to say his name wrong, so don't blame me, but Pierre Poilievre, I think is this guy's name. He, according to Polymarket, has an 87% chance of becoming the next Prime Minister after Canada has their election. This guy is more conservative. I don't think he aligns with Trump on every single issue, but he aligns with Trump on many issues, and that might actually be relatively bullish for the Canadian financial ecosystem and obviously for the United States financial ecosystem, given that Canada is one of our biggest trade partners. Now, having said that, we do have Trump, who I destroyed the last name. Of course I did. We do have Trump, who is trolling again. Maybe he's not trolling. Who knows? Trump said, many people in Canada love being the 51st state. The United States can no longer suffer the massive trade deficits and subsidies that Canada needs to stay afloat. Justin Trudeau knew this and he resigned. If Canada merged with the U.S., there would be no tariffs. Taxes would go way down and they would be totally secure from the threat of Russian and Chinese ships that are constantly surrounding them. Together, what a great nation it would be. Look, I think he's legit trolling, but I think there's parts of him that's not trolling because there's no way in hell Canada is going to agree to become the 51st state. I don't think Canada's giving up their sovereignty. But it's kind of funny the way Trump's thought. I'm like it's kind of funny that he keeps implying this, even though we know that's not going to happen. Nonetheless, Trump's going to have some new negotiations to do with a new prime minister, as Justin Trudeau has officially resigned today. Bitcoin right there, 102.068. We got Fubo just above $5. Take a look at that, 250% on the day. I mean, you could have literally bought it today in the morning and still been up almost 80%, which is pretty damn incredible. So this is a name that just had a great run. Again, the lawsuit between them and Disney has been resolved. Fubo is not going to be incorporated into Hulu. Market cap 1.7 billion. Market cap was under 500 million last week. Sometimes right place, right timing, or just conviction. I mean, a lot of people just held on to this one for a long time, and holding on to it ended up doing well with Fubo right here at $5.06. Okay, Tesla. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the context of Tesla. So Tesla right here, 408. This is the play I made on Tesla today. I officially am long Tesla synthetically with a $375 put on Tesla stock. So, I mean, look, I sold this when basically it was at 409, 410. Right now it's at 408. So kind of this similar price range. And essentially, what is the logic here? If Tesla goes to 375 by 131, I'd be assigned 100 shares. If I am, I wouldn't mind owning it at 375. I got 1470 as a credit, so a 4% return on the 37,500 in collateral. So instead of having to buy 100 shares of Tesla, I got the right to buy 100 shares if it gets to 375. Now, why did I pick 131? The reason for that is because that's right after earnings. And I am still very confused on how the street's going to interpret Tesla going into earnings. I have a feeling that even if the numbers are crappy, Elon's going to paint a really good story with FSD and the street's going to be on board. Why do I feel like that? Because we already have evidence that the street is on board. We talked about it this morning. Stifel decided to raise their price target to $492 for Tesla. And it was at 411. And this is after the deliveries miss. So the deliveries miss, which wasn't good for Tesla, or at least wasn't good in the eyes of Wall Street, that still wasn't enough to stop them from raising their price target. And that to me means the street potentially is moving on from thinking of it just as a car company. Not really, but there's certain firms that are thinking, hey, maybe it's worth more than that. So again, we read this in the morning, but they essentially think FSD, Cybercab, Optimus, all that stuff is out there. And that's more exciting than just the car story, which means even with low sales, that is something that they're excited for, along with the next generation vehicle. Now, that's another risk to Tesla, and that's why I picked 375. And if it gets there, it gets there, because Tesla tends to dump after earnings. So it is what it is. My adjusted cost base would be 360 if you subtract the $14 in premium. But if Elon doesn't announce this next generation Model Q or whatever that's coming out soon, maybe they delay it even further because it is what it is. That could have some volatility into shares. So it is what it is. We'll see what happens. If it gets to 375, it gets to 375. Quite frankly, if it gets to 375, I might just roll the contract and buy the shares outright. So I'd collect more premium and just buy 100 shares right there. We're going to see how that plays out. But overall, that was the move I did today on Tesla. And yes, that's another thing. I'm taking advantage of the IV percentage because the IV percentage uniquely is elevated going into earnings. I tend not to make plays on earnings, but for Tesla, because I want to go long anyway on Tesla, that is why I allocated to that play today. Now, one other piece of news on Tesla, I found this out today. The Tesla Model Y was the #1 best-selling car overall in the UK. So, and the Model 3 was #2. So not bad, right? 5,000 Model Ys were sold in the UK. 3,477 Model 3s were sold in the UK. So although deliveries was a bit of a miss, it looked like the incentives did benefit across the world, especially in the UK. And that was the best-selling car going into the end of the year. Eric says Tesla Energy Emit, it's entering the S-curve, will be a driver on earnings day, in my opinion. Look, I agree. And we saw 11 gigawatts of energy was the highest amount of energy that they put out wow, Tesla looks like it might finish green. Wow, look at that. 80 cents away. It was the highest level of energy that they've ever produced in a single quarter. The question is going to be how much of a revenue contributor is that going to be? It's going to be the fastest growing. We already know that. It's growing leaps and beyond everything else. Wow, Tesla, there you go, making a comeback. Last 5 minutes of the day going green. But the implications on revenue, I think, are going to be important. But I 1,000% agree. It is the S-curve, along with robotics, in terms of how Tesla is navigating the next decade. It's just going to be a question of how the street interprets those numbers. But I think they should interpret them well, because even if the energy growth is not a significant contributor to revenue, it's going to be the fastest growing thing. And if Microsoft is doing deals with Constellation Energy, which, by the way, let me show you guys this chart, and Oklo is getting a bid, et cetera, then it does look like energy demand is off the charts, and Tesla should get a benefit from that. Take a look at this chart right here. AI infrastructure stocks actually are the best performing stocks in 2025, which is pretty incredible to see. So look at this. Oklow's up 44% this year. SMR is up 27%. Nano Nuclear, NNE, I know a lot of you guys know that one. That's up 23%. SMCI is up 18.95%. SMCI, with all their issues, still is a infrastructure play for GPUs. Vistra's up 17%. Vertiv's up 16%. Constellation Energy's up 16%. They had a big Microsoft deal last year. Iran Energy's up 15%. TSM is up 12%. Credo's up 11%. Nvidia and GE Vernova. All of these are getting most of the love in the first 6 days of the year. Now, we're only into the first 6 days of the year, first 3 trading days, but it looks like the theme so far is energy and energy infrastructure, and that's some of the love that the street is giving to a bunch of these different names. Meta is up 4%. I don't know why Meta is up 4%. Actually, I think I do know why Meta is up 4%. It looks like TikTok is officially going to be sold, or at least that's one of the headlines, that TikTok is getting sold, which means they might not need to be banned, because if they get sold, they would be okay. Here's a clip from Kevin O'Leary. It looks like he is forming a group to buy TikTok, which is technically bullish.
And we want to. And then on midday, 12:05, Trump will be who we have to work with to close the deal in the months ahead. So I wanted to let him know, as well as others in his cabinet, that we're doing this, and we're going to need their help.
Well, that's going to be a very interesting story to watch.
Wow. So Kevin O'Leary is working with a group of investors to bid for TikTok. Technically, I don't know why that's bullish for Meta, because if they buy TikTok and keep it in the United States, I mean, like, that's not, I mean, like, that means Meta has less users that go to Meta, right? Technically, like, if we get really technical about it, that means people are still going to stay on TikTok. But maybe that means that because the Chinese government doesn't own it anymore, there's some competitive advantage to Meta, potentially. Not fully sure. Also, I'm confused that the CCP is actually selling it. I thought their whole point was to not sell it. So the fact that ByteDance is letting it get divested, again, we're just seeing this news. We have to get more details on it. But that is definitely something where Trump is getting what he wants, which is TikTok to continue to stay in the United States. MicroStrategy right here, up 11.4%, 378 right now on MSTR. Not bad on MicroStrategy. Again, a very, very good day for MSTR. Also for the proxies, MSTX, huge day for this one, up 22%. I know it had a lot of drama last week in terms of their special dividend, but if you held on, Bitcoin went up, MicroStrategy went up, which means MSTX went up. So not a bad day for MSTR currently here right now. Yeah, this TikTok thing is going to be interesting, bro. This TikTok thing is going to be very, very interesting if it doesn't get banned. Snapchat's also up 5%. Again, the confusing thing to me is if TikTok doesn't get banned, even if Kevin O'Leary ends up buying it, that means 170 million users are not going to switch from TikTok to Meta, YouTube, or Snapchat. So I don't really know why those names are getting a bid right here. There has to be something in terms of the ownership structure that's making the market bullish on some of these alternative social names. But there you go. That's what we're seeing right here. Tesla goes green right at the end of the day. We have 45 seconds until the market closes. Palantir was the only one that was not able to join the party today, down about 5%. But Tesla, even if it goes slightly red, it's a nice recovery from 401. It opened at 420, went all the way to 401, back at 410. So it looks like Tesla will end up going green here later today. Yeah, Palantir was just not able to go green with everybody else. And my thinking on it is because of the Morgan Stanley price target. We'll talk more about that in a bit. I did a video on it already. I'll be posting that a little bit later on Daily Palantir. But it looks like that $60 price target, which is a 25% haircut from where we are right now, is kind of making people think, okay, like we should sell. When in reality, to me, if you're long, that's bullish, because when has Morgan Stanley ever said Palantir should be worth 60? Never. In February, they said it should be worth $12 after a great earnings. So to me, that's bullish long-term in terms of them normalizing this stock price right now. All right, folks, here we go. 4 p.m. Monday, January 6th, the first actual market close, in my opinion, of 2025. Stock market is now closed. All right, here we go. We got a bunch of other headlines to get into, but let's take a look at how these stocks ended up closing. Tesla closed green, 411.05. Tesla closes green on the day. Meta right here, 630, up 4.2%. That's a hell of a move for Meta. That's a really big move for Meta. towards the end of the day. That's bullish, up 4.23%. By the way, there is someone who was shorting the market in 2008 who's back in 2025, and we're going to talk about him a little bit later as well because we have some new updates on some bears that are getting more excited about this market. 224 on IWM, that's up 0.04%. The Qs are up 1.15%. Palantir down about 5% on the day. Bitcoin still holding 102.2, which is not bad for Bitcoin. Apple right here up 0.67%. Apple, I believe, is less valuable than Nvidia. No, Nvidia fell from 150 to 149. That's why Nvidia's at 3.6 trillion. Apple's at 3.7 trillion. Nvidia was more valuable than Apple for a little bit today, but currently it is still down. MSTX ended the day at 23%. Some of the quantum names were a little red on the day. QSI was down about 4.43%. NEO was up 1.73%. Rivian was down 4% after being up 30% on Friday. Broadcom was up 1.6%. Astera Labs was up 1.92%. Let's look at AMD, which was up 3.3%. Not bad. SMCI was up 9%. Intel was down 3%. Didn't take a look at Intel the whole day, but Intel was indeed down. Are the bears still alive? Well, the bears are coming back, especially in terms of how they're viewing this market. And we're going to talk about one of them that made a couple $1 billion in 2008 and what he's thinking about this current market right now. ASML, great day for ASML, up 7.5%. Not sure why this one ran today. If anyone has any headlines or news, let me know. But ASML was up 7% currently on the day. That bell is like a fake Rolex. Oh my gosh. Yes, I'm going to be streaming tonight, 9:30 p.m. I will be streaming tonight for the I was about to say market close, but for the Jensen keynotes at 9:30, I'll be live tonight with me and Jose. Intel right here down 3.3%. SMCI was up 9.3%. Lam Research up 3.8%. Dell was up 4% of the day. Nice day for Dell. And then Micron couldn't break over 100. At one point, it was at 101.52, but that one was up 10.52% on the day. Crypto names as well were super green. Bitcoin 102.3, CleanSpark up 8% or 6%, Coinbase up 6%, MicroStrategy again up 11%, Robinhood was up 3.29%, not bad for Robinhood, ending the day at 42.71. Marathon was up 4.6%, Hut 8 Mining was up 10.39%. SoFi as well got upgraded by Barclays to $16. They were up 3% as well, 15.29 on SoFi. They have earnings in a couple weeks, so not bad for SoFi. Snapchat as well, 4.93%, and then Nvidia right here, 149.43. Couldn't crack over 150, but I guess the street's going to be waiting to see what Jensen has to say to give Nvidia that 150 level later today. Todd says 60 is Morgan Stanley's base case, not their price target. Interesting, because I actually have the report with me, and from my understanding, that's the price target. I'm going to pull up the report right now just to make sure. If there's a different number, I definitely didn't see a different range. Yeah, I see 60 on the report. If you have a different number, let me know, and I'll look for a different number. But what I see is 60. Even if that's their base case, I don't see a bull case of like $80 or anything like that. So I still think $60 is kind of the headline number that they're running with here right now. Fubo ends the day right here at 250%, and it's up another 1% after hours. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy, dude. 250% is pretty damn incredible. Let's get an update on Fubo, and then we'll get into a bunch of other headlines and some other updates right now going on the street. But this is what happened today on Fubo, and that's why the market is getting excited for it.
Mr. Douglas, I mean, what do you kind of think are the implications here?
Well, I think we're starting the year, and it's like Julia just says, sports, sports, sports. So I think that everything about streaming just seems to keep going towards sports. So that's a good thing, ESPN, as she mentioned, and so forth. But I think also, like, Disney kind of gets a free play here. So they want an independent sports network. Now they essentially have one. They don't have to build it. They just have to invest in it. They own 70% of it. So in some ways, that makes a lot of sense. Fubo, on the other hand, gets to leverage the Hulu brand, which I think they need because it'll make the content they have more attractive to advertisers. And I do think this will increase the advertising revenue. So all the investors are investing more in Fubo right now, literally right now. I think that's probably warranted.
And this seems, Barton, like it also clears the way for Disney to go ahead with the launch of Venue, right?
Yes, it clears the path for all these different threads that Disney has. Sports is interesting, right? They're pursuing so many different ways to distribute, right? So they've got ESPN Plus today. They've got ESPN under traditional pay TV ecosystem. And then they're rolling out the ESPN flagship streaming. And now they're also owning the majority, 70%, of Fubo, Hulu, let's call it Hubo joint venture that will be sports focused kind of linear service. So they've got every way under the sun to get sports in front of you. And this clears up a lot of the noise and a lot of the impediments and the blockage that have come from the litigation. They're free to run, and they've got a lot of ways to go at it. So they can have at it now.
So, I mean, Mark, a lot of consumers are just kind of their heads are spinning from the options out there right now. How do you expect this to all shake out?
I think is very. I mean, even understanding the deal is confusing. So I think all these options that consumers do have is confusing. I think ultimately it's what are they interested in? What speaks to them? Do they want to watch football? Do they want to watch college? Whatever it is. And so it's ultimately going to shake out in terms of that. Do you have content that's really compelling to me? I kind of always go back to Netflix. One thing that Netflix is really good at is basically onboarding you at the beginning of the night and then presenting something to you that you might not have watched. And they're going to do that literally tonight with WWE. So I think Disney still has to figure that out. How do they just onboard consumers and then send them to the right sports content that is compelling to them and they're going to want to watch and pay for or get ads?
No, that's very well said, especially, Barton, when the streaming services, now I'm going to say Hubo every time, Hulu Plus and Fubo combined only have 6 million subscribers.
So I guess the street is getting excited for Fubo. As I was saying, Fubu. That's the brand I used to wear when I was younger, so of course I made that mistake. But I guess Fubo is more exciting based on the idea that they have a lot more growth coming their way. Disney's now going to be infrastructure for them, going to provide them a foundation, not going to be competing with them in sport. And if they're not competing with them anymore and they can actually collaborate on live sports, then that's your bull case right here for Fubo right now. Is the stock a buy after this run? I have no idea. I've never followed this stock closely enough to know. Up 249% though is a big run, and if you buy after this and it comes down, you can't really be that upset because it's up a lot. But if you were holding, which if you look at the chart, I mean, it's a lot of just holding and being patient, and then one day something changes. That is why people got excited today about Fubo. Where is Disney? That's a good question. Disney was down slightly on the day. It basically flat. It was down 0.09%. So this wasn't a really big difference for Disney's bottom line because Disney is a $202 billion company. But Fubo, which was a $300 million company last week, is now a $1.69 billion company. So definitely a big deal for them instead. Tesla going green after hours. Really nice little recovery from the 401 lows that we saw today. So maybe today wasn't the worst day to sell puts on Tesla. The Qs right here, 525. IWM still up a little bit after hours. Palantir continuing to go red, not really getting any big benefit from all the macro green we saw today. Robinhood still green. Apple's green. GameStop ended up going green. Grab was at 494 today, ending the day at 487, but it was trying to close in on that $5 range. Riot as well, up 4.4% on the day. Rocket Lab, wow. Rocket Lab ended the day basically flat at 2880, but it did touch 3026. During the trading day. And then Nvidia right here at 149.43 for Nvidia. Who had Fubo? Put in the chat. Who had Fubo? Put in the chat and put in the chat if you made some money on Fubo. Like if you actually held through all the basically $1 days on this stock. Yeah, Meta. Again, I don't really know why Trump keeping TikTok in the United States is bullish for Meta, but for some reason that's the headline, and Meta's going up today on that. I'm going to try to get some more coverage on this TikTok thing, try to figure out what's going on here. But it looks like it's helping Meta right now. Caleb bought Fubo 3 weeks ago. Wow, what a buy. That was a good buy. That was not a bad buy. Jason was invested in the Series A in 2015. Dude, your average must be like pennies at that point. If you're in the Series A, that's not too bad. Jeremy sold 10,000 shares 2 months ago. I'm sorry about that. It's not, that kind of sucks whenever you see this. Lena was in this. Tess was in this. Andy said, I held 15,000 shares, made $40,000 today. Not bad. Not bad at all. Josh was up 280% on Fubo. Juan, close your Fubo leaps. Jeremy, we know Jeremy. Jeremy's been holding Fubo for a long time, I think. Jeremy's been in this name for more than a year. I feel like he's been excited about this one for a while. So he must definitely be up on Fubo. Yeah, decent amount of you were in this name. Dana White is named into the Meta board. Really? Is that the reason why Meta's running? Really? Dana White? Meta? No way. Holy crap. Holy freaking crap. Dana White is joining the Meta board of directors. So it has nothing to do with the TikTok thing, in my opinion, because the TikTok thing is kind of bearish for Meta. It's Dana White, John Elkann, I don't know who that is, and Charlie Songhurst, I don't know who that is either. Zuck says, we have massive opportunities ahead in AI, wearables, and the future of social media, and our board will help us achieve our vision. Some background on each. Dana is the president and CEO of UFC, and he has built it into one of the most valuable, fastest growing, and most popular sports enterprises in the world. I've admired him as an entrepreneur and his ability to build such a beloved brand. Dude, it's such an OG thing. Like Zucks just feels super freaking cool with Dana on the board of directors of Meta. Are you kidding me? Like, this is like a UFC fighting guy, kind of says whatever he wants, doesn't give a fuck what anyone thinks. Like, for him to be on the board of directors of Meta, that is a huge deal. That is a massive deal. John is the CEO of Exor and the chairman of two of Exor's auto portfolio companies, Stellantis and Ferrari. He has deep experience running large global businesses and brings an international perspective to our board. And then Charlie is a tech investor who previously led strategy at teams at Microsoft. He joined the Meta Advisory Group last year to advise on our AI and technology roadmaps, and I'm excited to add him to our board of directors. Bro, that is so cool. Dana White? Oh, I agree with Mila right there. This is the Trump play. This is 1000% the Trump play. Trump and Dana are boys. They're boys. And so the idea that Zucks gets one of Trump's boys, I didn't even think of that, bro. I didn't even think of that. Not only do you get UFC experience, which maybe that's maybe that's a collaboration with MetaQuest, and you can watch, UFC games through MetaQuest, something like that, right? There's some sort of collaboration there that could be exciting for the content that the UFC offers, which has a massive audience, and then Meta's technology. But more importantly, he's got someone who has Trump's ear on the board of directors. And this is a big deal, bro. And by the way, Peter Thiel left Meta's board of directors in 2022, and from Trump's first term, 2016 to 2020. Thiel was on the board of directors. Thiel, one of the earliest investors in Facebook, and obviously he was a very big supporter of Trump. And even though Zucks didn't really like Trump at the time, Thiel had Trump's ear. So it's a very smart play. Very, very, very smart play. I mean, to put Dana on the board, whether you like it or not, whether you like Trump or not, whether you like Zucks or not, just a Meta investor, I don't think can be that upset about this, because this is one of those things where now if Zucks needs to get something done politically, he at least has someone. I mean, Elon has like a front row ticket to Mar-a-Lago to like do whatever he wants, right? So Zucks needed something, and he got Dana White. And Dana must love this, because Dana's not a tech CEO or a tech entrepreneur. Dana White, who is the head of the UFC, which, is a big company, but it's not like Amazon, Meta, Tesla, Apple type of company. Dana White just got on the board of directors of a company that's probably going to $2 trillion this year, and that currently is at $1.59 trillion. I mean, for him, it was probably a no-brainer. It's probably, if you get to be buddy with Zucks, who has, Zucks is one of the most powerful guys in the world. Wow, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Let me see if we're getting any coverage on this. This one is like, I think it's the biggest deal of the day. This is the biggest news of the day, and this is why Meta should be up. Forget TikTok. This absolutely should be a reason why Meta is up. Oh, we got the Fubo CEO right now, and see, go to him real quick. Let's see what he has to say. And then we'll keep going from there. We'll keep covering this Meta stuff. Let me see if I can get some more stuff. But here's the Fubo CEO.
Now, under this deal, Disney is beefing up Fubo, becoming a majority owner in the company you'll be running. So, how does this fix those issues?
Well, I think the combined company, first of all, will have about 6.2 million customers. And as you said, it will be the second largest virtual MVPD in the space. And for me, that's an important moment, because it significantly intensifies the competition in the space. And we'll be able to, negotiate deals together, get better pricing, more packaging flexibility, and that ultimately helps consumers. And, as part of our deal, we've amended our carriage agreements, which allow us to launch skinnier bundles to attract customers that are more price sensitive and looking for greater value.
And what will the capital being injected into this venture do for you?
So, as you know, we've gone from being an upstart, should this deal go through, as part of the signing, we've had a cash injection of about $220 million and a term loan of $145 million. So that gives us significant capital to continue, to march towards our growth plan. And I think together, we'll be able to really focus on three areas. One is sort of the content cost, advertising optimization. There's marketing efficiencies, and we'll look to leverage Disney's resources and support, to help us grow our business and compete vigorously in space.
David, it's Morgan. It's great to have you on the heels of this news. As we just mentioned, as John just mentioned, your stock finishing up 250%. It just surged. Investors are certainly wrapping their arms around this and seem to be very excited. But I am curious, if we take a step back, how did this deal actually come together?
I get this question a lot. Look, as I've always said, our goal has always been to provide value for all of the stakeholders in our industry. And we've said that was for shareholders, for our media partners, and obviously for our customers. And, we initiated, I personally initiated, I thought it was a good idea. And, I think that, given where Hulu Live is and, what Disney was doing with it, I think it made a lot of sense. And, the key, I think, for the industry right now is to look for ways to continue to monetize programming. And I think this is, again, it's an important deal. It certainly changes the landscape. It's more competitive. And the big winner today, I think, is the consumer.
How does it speak to how quickly the media landscape is changing and evolving here right now, especially as you start to see things like, we're even experiencing it. Comcast, our mother, our parent company with SpinCo. You're seeing it with other deals happening among more traditional media companies as well. But even just tonight, you have Netflix broadcasting its first WWE Raw episode as well. So how does it speak to what we're seeing in terms of cord cutting, in terms of cord nevers, and in terms of this TV 2.0, I'll call it, landscape?
Yeah, look, I think you're right. It's a very complicated space. The dynamics are quickly changing. Everyone's looking to try and reposition themselves for success to be able to attract more customers. We've been very focused on super aggregation. It's an area that I've talked about several times now over the last year. We want to be able to provide consumers with different price point video services along the demand curve. And we want to provide them that flexibility. And I think everyone, including Netflix, is looking for ways to ensure that they remain at the top. As it relates to Disney and our relationship, I think that, what we're able to do right now is to offer two very distinct brands. One is Hulu, which will provide a more fulsome entertainment cable replacement service, which obviously has sports, news, and entertainment. And Fubo will continue to double down on its sports offering. And now with these amended carriage agreements, we'll also be able to afford consumers, skinnier sports bundles. So we're very excited about this. I think you'll continue to see significant competition. But what you learned today and what we were able to secure today, I think, is really important as it relates to consumer choice, affordability, and value.
David Gandler, Fubo CEO, thanks for joining us.
All right, so there you go. That's the Fubo deal. That's what investors are excited about. The stock's still continuing to do well, even after hours. It's up another 2% after hours, now up 253% for the day. And it looks like this lawsuit being averted and Disney partnering with them, it was the solution for everybody. I am still not over this Meta headline, though. This is a big deal, bro. Big freaking deal for Meta. Did not expect him to get Zuckerberg. Take a look at this picture, too. Apparently, Zucks and Meta know each other. Apparently, they've known each other for a while, which makes sense because this whole MMA thing Zuck's been getting into. Look at this picture. This is I think this is probably from a couple years ago. But, this is when Zuck's wasn't as cool. Zuck's is cooler now. But, dude, this is a big deal to me. A very, very big deal for Meta. Meta's been on the list this year. It's been hard to find an entry into Meta, but this one, I mean, if the street's going to give Tesla love because he's close with Trump, this, I think the street's going to be able to see why Dana's on the board. It's not because UFC is amazing, which it is. It's because Dana understands Trump very well. I think he understands Trump very well. Did I say Zucks and Meta know each other? I mean Zucks and Dana. I mean Zucks and Dana. The news is that Dana White is now on the board of directors of Meta. It's a big deal, bro. This is a chess move by Zucks. Very big chess. I mean, he needed a front row seat, or at least someone who has a front row seat to the White House. And he just got it with Dana White. Trump loves Dana White, dude. Loves this guy. If Dana needs a favor or Dana wants to set up a meeting, and remember Zuckerberg with all the censorship in 2016, like Trump is still not a fan of Meta or Zucks. This is one way to start getting into his good graces. It seems like this could be something that makes it happen. Gene says, did you see the news that came out on Friday that Tim Cook is donating $1 million to Trump's inaugural? I did not see that, but it makes sense that, I mean, basically every CEO is putting $1 million into the inauguration fund at this point. Vlad gave 2 million, Zucks gave 1 million, Jeff Bezos gave 1 million. Makes sense. Tim Cook joining as well and giving $1 million. Okay, cool. So those were the big headlines. We have one piece of quick news on Ulta, and then I want to get to the bearish thing that I wanted to talk about. So here's some breaking news on Ulta, and then we'll keep going from there.
And Courtney Reagan has the details. Hey, Court.
Hi, Morgan. So Ulta Beauty announcing a CEO transition effective right now, right here today. So Ulta CEO Dave Kimball is effectively stepping down from his position today. Will stay on with the company through the end of June. The current COO and president, Keisha Steelman, will take over as CEO of Ulta Beauty effective today. She has been with the company since 2014, held a variety of roles, so very familiar, of course, with how the company is going. And another thing that we should note is within this same release, the company is giving a fourth quarter update. The fourth quarter full results won't be out until March, but they are saying that they are increasing the fourth quarter outlook because of the better than expected performance during the holiday season. Comparable sales increasing modestly. That's the expectation now. Operating margin to be above the high end of the company's previous expected range of 11.6 to 12.4%. So shares here of Ulta Beauty are jumping about 3% on perhaps both the update and maybe also the announcement of the new CEO, the current COO. Again, Keisha Steelman is stepping in.
So new CEO for Ulta. Looks like that's something bullish for Ulta. Is Facebook still going up after hours? Ulta right here up 4% on that news. And then where's Elf? Elf is basically flat today. It was up about 1%, up another 1% after hours. For those saying, Amit, are you buying Fubo? I am not buying Fubo. Again, I just don't know much about the company, but for those that were in it, I'm happy for you. I mean, 250% in a day is incredible. The question is, do you take profits? Do you let it run? And I have no idea. I have no freaking clue. I do not know anything about this company. I know that lawsuit getting averted was a big deal. And so, maybe you sell half, maybe take your initial out, maybe you let the rest run. But really, it's a question of if you believe in their long-term trajectory. I've just never been bullish on any media company because I'm so bullish on YouTube, right? So that doesn't mean those media companies can't gain momentum, and that doesn't mean their stocks can go up. But it's just not really a place I would want to invest in because it's just not the most exciting to me when I think of media in and of itself. It's another reason I miss Netflix as well, right? Just never fully understood the media companies. Okay, cool. So let's talk about the bearish headline that I wanted to talk about today, which is not really a headline, but it's definitely something I want to bring to everyone's attention because it was pretty interesting. Okay, so let me pull this up. Fubo was $30 at one point. You bought Fubo at 30? All right, well, I hope you averaged down on that. Holy crap, dude. I didn't know it got that. Well, yeah, it did. It's been around since 2014. We looked at the chart this morning. It's been around for a while. So it's been stuck at the dollar range for a while. It was probably under $1 for a bit, but it was elevated earlier, a couple years ago. Okay, so here's the bearish piece of news. So first of all, real quick before that bearish piece of news, Trump is officially going to become the next president of the United States. So Congress in the United States has to certify the election. They officially certified it today. Kamala Harris had to be the person to actually certify it as well. So she certified Trump as the official president, and Trump will be sworn in pretty soon. into Congress, and then ultimately he will become the president. All right, so here's the bear point. So everyone today, if you don't know him, you're going to be introduced to a guy named Stephen Diggle Volps. Okay. I'm just going to read from this. Let's read from this. It's a quick read. Let me read through this, and then we'll keep going from there. Okay. So it'll take me like 2 minutes to read through all this, but then we'll analyze it. This is from Bloomberg. A former hedge fund manager whose firm has made billions of dollars during the global financial crisis is ready to pounce on volatility again as he sees threats to market stability at a level not seen since 2008. Steve Diggle's family office Volps Investment Management is seeking up to $250 million from investors as early in the first quarter, the Oxford, UK-based investor said in a telephone interview. Diggle, whose firm made $3 billion between 2007 and 2008, is raising the money for a hedge fund and managed accounts designed to generate hefty returns in market crashes and profit from wagers on rising and falling stocks in calmer periods. Pretty much the same thing that he did in 2008. The idea to start the new fund came after the firm developed a model to use artificial intelligence to read large volumes of public information. This is really interesting. It helped spot Asia-Pacific companies with a high probability of blowups due to risky behavior such as high leverage, asset liability mismatch, or even outright fraud, Diggle said. The equity portfolio will also have single stock or indexes as bullish wagers. Diggle is making his biggest push into volatility trading after the March 2011 closure of his predecessor firm, Treatise Fund Management. The then Singapore-based hedge fund firm saw assets swell to nearly $5 billion in 2008, bolstered by profits from bets on market routes and bank troubles, only to later fall victim to a turn in markets brought on by unprecedented central bank intervention. So he made a lot of money, and then the banks intervened, and that kind of took away a lot of his money. The number of fault lines out there today are greater, and the chances of something going wrong are significantly greater, but risk prices have come down, Diggle said, drawing a comparison with conditions under more than a decade of easy monetary policies. So we are kind of in an analogous situation to where we were in 2005 and 2007, meaning 2026 would be 2008, and that's when we would have a crash. Among the potential flashpoints are the stretched valuations of U.S. stocks, the country's prime office market glut, elevated federal debt, and tight credit spreads. A new bull market generation of traders who entered the industry after 2008 have driven a small group of U.S. technology stocks and crypto to dizzying heights, Diggle said. Meanwhile, it's cheaper to buy instruments to protect against routes. Basically, it's cheaper to go short than it is to go long. And if you're correct on your short massively outperforms your long. And Chamath even said this on the Olin podcast, that he would rather be short the economy than long the economy for the next year. Elsewhere, he cited mounting geopolitical tensions and China's shadow banking woes. Retail punters, the growing might of passive investment funds, and high-frequency traders will likely exacerbate routes like they did in March 2020 and August 2024, Volp said in a marketing document for the new fund. Final part of this article. Treatise also amassed at one point credit default swaps with more than $8 billion of notional value on the very banks that it sold it to, those tail risk derivatives. It was used in part as a hedge against the bank's inability to honor their obligations if markets tanked, and in part as wagers on the lender's poor risk management. The Lehman Brothers CDS settled at a 367-fold the price that Treatise had paid after the bank filed for bankruptcy in 2008. Meaning they made 367x on their money, while the same instrument on UBS Group AG generated about a 20-time return. Hedge funds that purely bet on rising volatility tend to lose money during the calmer days of the market because volatility doesn't go up as much. Since Treatise shut down, Diggle's family office has invested in avocado orchards in New Zealand, real estate in Germany, a biotech company in the UK, and stocks that could benefit from European rearmament following the Russia invasion of Ukraine. So pretty much everything except tech companies in the United States. While Volps toyed with volatility trades occasionally over the years, it didn't make a serious effort at it previously, partly because of the absence of trading opportunities that could help offset such losses. Diggle said the capital structure arbitrage trades that Treatise used to subsidize tail risk bet losses in its early years have become less profitable. So the point of all of this is that this guy, Steve Diggle, which I know you guys are having fun with that last name, but Steve Diggle, who's also an English musician, if you didn't know that. It's not like I just Googled that, but if you didn't know that, then there you go. Steve Diggle, this is the guy who made $3 billion in the housing market crash as he shorted it. I think Michael, I don't think he was part of the Michael Burry group of people that ended up shorting, but he shorted it from a different perspective. He's now saying, hey, maybe we come back and we start thinking about where valuations are currently in 2024. Now, here's my thoughts on this. I read this article a couple hours ago, and I think it comes back to the same bull bear debate that we're going to have in 2025, which is as follows. Is AI real? Is there an ROI from AI? Will companies keep spending to show that ROI and to build out the CapEx infrastructure for the ability to eventually show that ROI? And then will that reflect in earnings growth leading to justify the valuations that we have right now? If that's the case, and even if there is a 10 or 15% correction because Nvidia, Amazon, Meta, they don't have the best quarter, is that a 2008 housing crisis? I mean, I don't think so, right? Like, it doesn't feel like a housing crisis. Is AI that big of a bubble? I don't think AI is a bubble at all. And even if some valuations are stretched, I mean, we've had this debate for so long in 2024. If it's not a bubble, then there's no collapse. It might be a bit extended. You might see valuations come down, but that is not a 50 to 70% crash in the entire market because the market's propped up on this thing that's just not real. Like if you believe AI is real, then the market's propped up on something that's actually reasonable, which is revolutionary technology that's happening. Now, one thing that it was in the article was that they use, ironically, they're bearish on tech valuations, but then the firm, which is raising $250 million, used artificial intelligence to read large volumes of public information. So it's like they're using the thing that they're kind of bearish on in terms of valuations to then come to the conclusion that Asia Pacific companies are all frauds. That's essentially their point. I don't know how good those AI models are. I don't know how good that information is. And I don't think every Asia Pacific company is a fraud. Are there a lot of problems with some of these Asian Pacific companies in terms of how they report? Of course. Like that's been true for the past decade. Does that mean they're all fake and that they're all highly levered and they're all lying about their earnings? I don't think so. I mean, some of them might be, but I don't think the majority of them are. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe their AI model is super smart and figured it out. But if that's the case, and you go short the Asian markets, does that cause some cataclysmic collapse in the United States? Probably there is some level of correlation. Is that the housing market again? I don't know. So look, as I'm reading this report, like there is an argument for why I understand why he wants to get bearish. I mean, in general, everyone is bullish. Markets are up. You're seeing stretched valuations. I get it. Does that mean you go and say 2026 is going to be 2008 and 2023 to 2025 was 2005 to 2007? I don't know. I think there has to be a much, much bigger evident bubble, which is hard to see because obviously that's the whole nature of bubbles, but you have to have a little bit more logic on it to come to that conclusion. Now, here's another macro argument for why we might not be in that big of a bubble. If this 10-year is topping out and this 10-year is coming down, and then this 10-year, as a result of coming down, gets mortgage rates to come down, which unfortunately mortgage rates are not coming down yet, and we need them to come down, then yeah, we are going to see equities get even more momentum because $7 trillion on the sidelines is not going to take 3% from a money market fund. They're going to start to pile into equities. And if they're piling into equities, that means there's going to be a bid on a lot of these names. If inflation comes down, the market's going to get excited. Will that have potentially some issues with unemployment and rates? Yes, all that stuff is there. But are we setting up from a macro perspective to have a massive 2022 collapse like Dan Niles was talking about today in terms of cash being your best friend? I don't think so, only because I think inflation is coming down and because I think unemployment is not going to get affected as dramatically as some people may think. Again, we would need inflation to get back to 6, 7, 8% for us to really be like, holy crap, it's Volcker 1980. Jay Powell's got to come back in. He's got to save the market again because he messed up thinking that he was done at 2.7%. I just don't think we're there. I don't think the data says that we're there. Shelter data doesn't say that we're there. And so if we're not there yet, if the macro doesn't have a massive bubble and AI doesn't have a massive bubble, then where is the massive bubble that he's looking for? Now, granted, there might be a bubble. It's hard to see a bubble, so I have to be humble enough to know that there might be a bubble out there that I don't see. But that is one of the bears from 2008 that's coming back. Maybe it's kind of bullish, too, that the bears from 2008 are coming back because they're getting so determined that this is finally the start of this massive bear market they've been hoping for. And then, that might just not ever happen, and it might kind of be this perpetual hoping of a bear market to play out. But I'm much more on the side of Tom Lee and Dan Ives, which is that tech is real, tech is compounding, and the macro will give you great opportunities to buy the dip. But for the next couple of years, there's not necessarily a headwind against the United States economy that can't be figured out via what Jay Powell has been doing, which he's been doing a pretty damn good job, and something that technology can find a way to mask. I mean, if ChatGPT did not come out in 2022, yeah, we probably wouldn't have the bull market that we're having right now. Because you can't have rising inflation and rising rates, but somehow the market came up. That's what the bears are really mad about. How in the past 2 years did the market go up with all this inflation and all these rising rates? Because of AI. And now that all this stuff is coming down and AI is only getting better, you have a recipe for at least somewhat of an interpretation that we could have a pretty bullish next couple years. So that was one of the bear articles that I wanted to show people that I saw today. I thought that one was a bit more of an interesting one. Nvidia event tonight is at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's going to be a big one. I'll be streaming it live with Jose, and we will just be discussing what's going on with Nvidia. Christian, thanks for the $5 super chat. Hey, I have an idea. I'm going to use AI to discover that AI is fake. Please send me $250 billion. I think he's going to end up raising the $250 million that he's looking for. And he's probably going to go short, and maybe that $250 million returns really well if we have like a little bit of a meltdown. But 2008, that was again, it's called a great financial crisis for a reason. Like, people lost their jobs, companies went out of business, stock market took until 2013 just to reach the heights that it was at 2008. Like, it was tough. We had to have massive stimulus when Obama came in. Like, it was not pretty. So whenever someone says we have another 2008 coming up, they are implying shit's about to hit the fan. And it's like, if you think things are going to get that bad, you better have a hell of a reason for why things should get that bad. Because if not, then, maybe there's not going to be something that bad to look forward to. A 10% correction absolutely could happen. We have one every single year. Historically, we have one every single year, every 13 months or every 14 months. And 2024, we had it as well. It was August 5th. It was very quick, but it happened. So we'll probably have it again this year. But does that mean, 30, 40, 50% direction? Did you feel the downturn of 2008? So one thing the article was good about is that he is saying that there's a generation of people who have not lived through 2008 that are now investing. I am obviously included in that generation. I can't speak to how bad 2008 was. Thankfully, my parents weren't invested in the market, so they didn't see like their net worth disappear or anything. My mom was a teacher, so her job was fine. My dad owned a liquor store. His business was fine, even though there were some struggles. So my family didn't feel the brunt of 2008 because my dad had his own business. My mom was a government worker, so it wasn't that crazy. But granted, I mean, he is right about that. I'm someone who has not experienced a real market meltdown. I guess 2022 was kind of a market meltdown, but it was so temporary, like it was just like, all right, it was a year and then we rebound. 2008 was like years before there could be any rebound. So yeah, that's fair. I haven't experienced a type of crash like that. But even without experiencing a crash, I'm looking at the market all day, looking at data all day, trying to do the best I can. And when you put all the data together, especially just the hardcore data on AI, again, we talked about it. Microsoft's doing $80 billion of CapEx spending this year, $45 billion last year. That is undeniable. And when you have that much level of investment in infrastructure going into what is this multi-level cycle around AI upgrades and AI infrastructure, it does seem like we are more bullish and bearish. Have you watched The Big Short? Yes, it's a great movie. It's a great movie. I actually really do like Wall Street movies. I don't like regular movies, but Wall Street movies I love. And The Big Short, amazing movie. Margin Call, I didn't love that much. I was not a big fan of Margin Call. But Wall Street, the original one from the 1980s, I love that one. The 2010 version was kind of whatever. But the original one with Gordon Gekko and Charlie Sheen in it and Martin Sheen, I think those were the two main characters. That one I loved. It was really good. And The Big Short was awesome. But is 2025 2008? I don't know, bro. I don't know. I haven't watched Rogue Trader. I have to watch that one. I haven't seen that one. But there's another one that's a really good one. Social Network was great. I've watched that like 5 times. There's another big Wall Street movie that I'm forgetting right now off the top of my head that was really good. But most of those I watched. I didn't like Margin Call for some reason. I don't know. I wasn't a fan of it. Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah, of course, that one. That was the best one. Yeah, that was great. But Margin Call, I don't know. Maybe I got to watch it again. I didn't love it too much. Yeah, Wolf of Wall Street was the best. Wolf of Wall Street was the best. Okay, like I could understand someone saying The Big Short was better than Wolf of Wall Street because it was like The Big Short was a little bit more like practical in terms of what happened. But Wolf of Wall Street, objectively, that's. I know it's a basic answer, but by the way, Netflix put Inception on over the weekend. I think Inception has an argument for the greatest movie of all time. And you can't kill me for that take. You can kill me for the High School Musical take. I don't care. For those that are new here, I said High School Musical is a top 10 movie of all time. Don't leave, please. Like that's still it's not a horrible take. It's a bad take to most people. It's a decent take to me. Inception has a chance to be the top movie of all time. I really do think so. Maybe I'm prisoner of the moment because I watched it over the weekend, but still, I think there's an argument. Ian says, breaking news, Greenland applies to Denmark for independence. So I saw this over the weekend. I don't really know what this means, but I know that Greenland is starting to want to become independent given what Trump has been saying about them in Denmark. I don't know if this is going to happen. It is a very weird situation, but Trump has been talking so much about like basically merging with other countries or sovereign parts of the world. So that is why I think the headline came out that they actually want to get away from Denmark. So I guess we'll see how that plays out. Real quick, here's the update on Meta and Dana White. We got the coverage on it, so let's take a look at this right here.
His board of directors, Dana White, president and CEO of UFC, Zuckerberg saying he's admired him as an entrepreneur and brand builder. John Elkann, the CEO of Exor and the chairman of two of his portfolio companies, Stellantis and Ferrari, noting that he brings an international perspective to Meta's board. And also Charlie Songhurst, a tech investor who previously led strategy teams at Microsoft and joined the Meta Advisory Group last year to advise on AI and technology roadmaps, now officially joining the board. Zuckerberg saying that 2025 will be a big year for Meta, and he's excited to have these new board members. John?
I would expect he would plan for it to be a big year, Julia. Thank you.
It's a big win, bro. That's a big freaking win. I think that's a big win for Zucks and Facebook. Okay, quick Robinhood news that we got to discuss as well. So Robinhood did announce today that option trading fees will increase by 1 cent. So it costs 3 cents to trade an option. Now it'll cost 4 cents. For users, it's not that big of a deal. If you don't trade options, it doesn't matter. If you do, 4 cents is still super cheap compared to like Schwab, Fidelity, Vanguard, etc. For investors, unfortunately, this is not going to be 1 cent going to Robinhood, the company. This is going to be going to clearing fees and regulatory fees. So we'll discuss it on Robinhood Weekly tonight, but I don't believe Robinhood is going to get an extra cent per contract. Even the 3 cents per contract right now, they don't get those 3 cents. They have to give it to the regulators. So I don't think we're getting an extra 1 cent. We'll discuss it again tonight. If we do, I'd be super happy. That's amazing because Robinhood trades, almost 400 million contracts a quarter in options. We get about 46 cents per contract in terms of the take rate. But yeah, I don't think we're getting an extra 1 cent for Robinhood right now. My brokerage is $7.50 per contract. See, that's insane. Are you in Europe? Really original? Are you in Europe? That sounds like something in Europe or Canada, bro. That's wild, dude. I couldn't like $7.50 a contract, bro. I can never imagine. I couldn't imagine paying 75 cents a contract. I'd be like, what is this, bro? Tariq, thank you for the 10 euros. Appreciate it. These are definitely euros, right, guys? These have to be euros. There's no way these are pounds. Thank you for the 10 euros, Tariq. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here. And I hope these are euros. Ruda Peroni, thank you for the 100 Czech dollars. Happy late New Year gains for everyone from Czechoslovakia, as Amit said. This is an inside joke for the people that were on the market close late last week. Thank you, Ruda. I appreciate it. Is it pounds? Did I get it wrong again? Holy crap, bro. You know what, guys? I think I figured out why I can't figure out the difference between euros and pounds. I'm not trolling. I promise. I swear I'm not trolling, dude. I'm trying to lose weight and I'm afraid of pounds. I think that's what's happening. I really think that's what's happening right now. Like I am on a mission to lose 30 pounds this year. And so maybe that's why I don't. The euro looks like an E. Oh my God, bro. How do I get that wrong again? Euro versus pound symbol. Where is this? I'm going to save this picture right now. Okay, boom. Yo, this picture's hilarious. It says freaking Bitcoin. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. It shows me the Bitcoin. I am saving this right now as an image. And every time we get a super chat, I'm just going to make sure that I have this with me. So there you go. Yeah, new desktop background, dude. Holy crap. I cannot figure this out. Every time. I think it's a euro, then I think it's a pound, then it's not. Okay, I'm not doing Ozempic. Okay, I'm not doing Ozempic. That's not happening. But we're going to be using that. Ruda, thank you again. It's the Czech koruna. That's what it is. I didn't know Czechoslovakia was broken up. I didn't know that was a thing on Friday. So that's another thing you guys can make fun of me for. I was like, I thought it was still a thing, Czechoslovakia. Apparently it was broken up a while ago. I didn't know that. I didn't know. But thank you, Ruda, for the Czech koruna. Appreciate you. And thank you for being here. Real quick on Bitcoin inflows as well. This was on last Friday. I didn't even see this number. We had $908 million come in on Friday. And on Friday, Bitcoin actually performed really nicely. I think at like 97K. So you had almost $1 billion. BlackRock bought 253 million. Fidelity bought 357 million. Today, I think we should get an even better number than 908 million, given how much excitement there was as we went over 102,000. But still, not bad at all for these Bitcoin inflows. Okay, what other headlines do we have after the bell? Is that pretty much it? The Zucks headline was the big one. Ulta Beauty was another one. We talked about Tesla, talked about Palantir, talked about Hood. Oh, AMD, they did, well, this is probably for CES. They did unveil some next generation AI processors at CES. We'll probably hear more about this. This is, they collaborated with Dell, by the way. This is probably why Dell was also up 4% today. They announced their first ever collaboration with Dell on business PCs. And so, yeah, Lisa Su wasn't presenting, but AMD overall presented these, and that might be something that's exciting for AMD going into the next, going into the next few weeks as AMD announces more things. Just Ball, thank you for the $7 super chat. Amit can walk through a call debit spread, but pound euro is a no-go. LOL. Happy New Year, bro. It is wild, bro. It is wild. There are some complex things I can describe, and I can get through them without like having any hiccups. But then when it comes to saying thank you on a super chat, I'm like, is that a euro? Is that a pound? The hell is that, bro? Fubo, goodness gracious. Is this thing still running? I mean, look at that. Up another 9%, bro. Holy crap. Look, congrats if you're in the name. Congrats if you're in the name. If you got this one, then you are having some love. You are getting some love today. Trudeau resigned. Yep, that's also happened today. Oh, let's watch the Harris initiation of Trump as president. I was going to show that clip, so let's look at that. Greenland government official says Donald Trump Jr. is expected to land in Greenland tomorrow. Greenland has announced a desire to obtain independence from Denmark. Dude, how crazy would it be if Trump Jr. brokered a deal to make Denmark part of the United States, or not to Denmark, to make Greenland part of the United States of America? That would be insane. That would be absolutely insane if that happens. But apparently he's arriving to Greenland.
The state of the vote for the President of the United States, as delivered to the President of the Senate, is as follows. The whole number of the electors appointed to vote for President of the United States is 538. Within that whole number, the majority is 270. The votes for President of the United States are as follows. Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 312 votes. Kamala D. Harris Kamala D. Harris of the state of California has received 226 votes. The whole number of electors appointed to vote for Vice President of the United States is 538. Within that whole number.
There you go. There it is. So I agree. Making Kamala read this was definitely brutal. Now, granted, in the United States, for those that don't know, if you're international, the VP always has to certify the next president. It's just in this case, the VP was running to be the next president. So nonetheless, that's done. There were no hiccups there. So it looks like Trump will be sworn in the next couple of weeks. But that's done. And on to the next administration going into 2025. Doug says Greenland is a part of the U.S. Isn't that big a deal? It would just be a giant territory. It wouldn't be a state. It's not enough people that live there. There's more attractive options for the 51st state. Why are we talking about the 51st state, bro? How is this like a real headline? How did Trump get people to talk about figuring out what the 51st state is going to be. Like, this is crazy to me. This is just crazy. The fact that he's actually getting people to think about what the 51st state would be is wild. Absolutely wild. But I guess it's happening. I guess it indeed is still happening. I would have called in sick today if I was Harris. Yeah, dude, it is what it is. I don't know. I kind of think she's happy to not be president. She can like go do her own thing. I mean, dude, she can go make tens of millions of dollars. She can go write a book. She can go on a speaking tour. Like, she can go do whatever she wants now. She doesn't have to worry about anything. I think there's some rumors that she wants to run for governor of California because Newsom's definitely going to run for president. And then that'll be open for her. So maybe she does that. But also, she could kind of just go make a ton of money and do nothing. Maybe. We are going to see. Okay. I think that's it. Do we have anything else? Today? That's pretty much it. No other big news that I'm looking at. So tomorrow, let me check earnings. We do start earnings this week. Earnings today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. Yeah, we really have nothing until Friday. Friday, we have Delta, Tilray, Constellation Brands, and Walgreens. Those are going to be 4 important names. And then the week after this week, so next week, we start with the banks, baby. Start with the banks. So in 2 weeks, we're going to have more important earnings. And then after that, we have tech. And we'll see what goes from there. But besides that, folks, Trudeau's out. Trump's in. Bitcoin is holding above 101,000. Tesla holding above 410. S&P trying to make its way back to 6,000. Palantir, I'll have a video coming out a little bit on Palantir in terms of the price target today, but the only reason I think it's down is because people saw 60 instead of 80, and that's why people sold it off. But that one held up decently today, even though it's down 5%, holding above 75. MSTR, great day today. I mean, it's kind of going back to the conversation we had in the morning, right? Which is that is 2025, 2024? Does every dip get bought? Does every freaking dip get bought? And if it does, then this is going to be a hell of a year. This is going to be a great year. This is going to be a great year. If 2025 is 2024 2.0 and every dip gets bought, either it's going to be one of the biggest bubbles by the end of the year, or it's going to be like a year where earnings growth is enough to justify the valuations, which is going to be pretty exciting. Palantir didn't really do a new deal today. Arnie posted something. I'm still going through what Arnie posted. Palantir was mentioned in this like companies partnership thing. It's not really like a big deal. It's I gotta look at it. Actually, no, I think it is a decent deal. It's Ellis Dawn. Does anyone know that company? A global construction services and tech company. I'm gonna show you guys the tweet, but I haven't read into it at all today. I've just been too busy. But I will go through this tonight and we'll talk about it tomorrow. Ellis Dawn, if anyone knows this one, they partnered with Palantir today. It wasn't in a press release though. It was like on their website, but it wasn't like a real press release. Canadian company. Okay. So they're working with Palantir on AI and operational efficiencies. So that's going to be something for today. Josh says dip gets bought, too much money on the sidelines. I agree. Look, on Thursday, we'll get more updates on money market funds. But last week we added freaking 42 billion. At this point, 96 billion on the sidelines in the past 2 weeks. It is pretty damn aggressive. Okay, that's it. So I'm not done for today. In about an hour, you guys will see the new Daily Palantir video. Or that'll be out like 6:30ish, so in about an hour and a half. Then Robinhood Weekly from 7 to 8. And then at 9:30, me and Jose covering Jensen. So we've got 3 more things. Palantir video, Robinhood Weekly, and then Jensen keynote. So we are still with a jam-packed day, even after the market close. Duolingo needs to partner with Palantir to help Amit with pronunciation. That wouldn't be the worst partnership, bro. That would definitely be something I could use. That's for sure. That is for sure. Okay, that is it. I feel like I had something else to say. No? Okay. Oh, yeah, what I was going to say. The other thing I have to personally do today, and I'm sure some of you guys might relate to this, is clean up the driveway, which is going to be my workout today, to be honest. I mean, there's a lot of snow outside, and it's probably going to take me another hour after this to go clean everything up. And if I don't do it, my dad's going to do it, and I don't want my dad to do it, so I have to do it. So yeah, that is gonna be my workout for the day. New Jersey actually got a ton of snow. I don't know if you guys got snow, but DC got a ton of snow. New Jersey got a ton of snow. New York, I don't know how much snow it got, but we got a lot of snow. So definitely something that we have to clean up now here today. All right, that's it. That's it. I am not power washing, bro. I'm using a freaking shovel. We don't have a power wash. I'm using a shovel. And I'm gonna fucking go break my back and go clean up the snow. Pete Wiggly, thank you for the 10 pounds. Thank you for the 10 pounds. It's got to be a pound, right? That better be a fuck. If that's not a pound, I'm gonna go crazy. Thank you for the 10 pounds. Would you buy glasses if they were AI glasses with an AI agent in them? Maybe. I'm not really sold on the AI glasses as like something that's super exciting. I don't think most people would wear them or use them, aka Vision Pro. We saw it flopped. I know Meta's working on stuff that's different. So bullish on it, not super excited for it. If my AI glasses could be super productive and do stuff for me, yeah, I just think the battery is going to be heavy. I think it's going to be a little uncomfortable right now. But if they fix all that stuff in the next decade in terms of next generations, then yeah, I mean, I would not mind wearing AI glasses. That was a pound, right? All right, I got it. Bet. I got it. They were pounds. All right, there we go. Can you please video shoveling for us? People love watching us work. Would you guys watch me streaming myself shoveling? You guys would watch that? There's no way you would. I mean, maybe one day I could. maybe one day. Maybe one day we do that. Congrats, Amit. You just gained 10 pounds. That's a good one. Yes. Just gained 10 pounds. You guys would watch me streaming my shovel or streaming my shoveling of the snow? All right, dude. Maybe one day. Maybe we got to do more in real life streaming, bro. Like IRL streaming. Maybe. I mean, dude, I'm gonna be traveling a lot this year. It looks like people are excited for the meetups. I asked on Twitter where I should go, and lots of people have a lot of different cities. So we're definitely gonna be traveling at least once every single month, and hopefully we can do some streams in real life, or at least get some vlog content in real life as we go across the world here. Europe is big, dude. People like Netherlands. Seattle was one I didn't expect. Everyone's saying Seattle. The Netherlands, that was another place that people were like, come to the Netherlands. North Carolina, apparently a lot of you guys are in North Carolina. That was one that people wanted. LA is a big one. Toronto's a huge one. Dallas, Houston, Austin, all three of those are huge. Atlanta, you guys are all in Atlanta. I think I'll definitely come to Atlanta because Chris is in Georgia, so that gives me an excuse to go chill with Chris for a bit, and that could be good. Chicago was a big one. Minnesota was a big one. Denver, for some reason, was a big one. People were talking about Denver. And then Tampa was another big one outside of Miami. So there's a lot of names that we got to see if we can get there over this year. And then the UK. And Miami. Yes, Miami. We're doing Miami. I'm just talking about the ones that we haven't talked about. And then the UK, there's so many of you in the UK, which is going to be fun. I definitely want to go to the UK. I feel like I have to. There's so many of you there. And, London, finance, all that stuff is important. So that will be an exciting one. And then New York for January to launch it and start it off. All right. That's it for me, guys. We'll be back. Palantir daily episode will be out in about an hour and a half. Robinhood Weekly, 7 p.m. And then Jensen keynote, even if you're not invested in Nvidia, whatever he says, the stock market still depends on Nvidia doing well. So that'll be important at 9:30 p.m. We will stream that later today. All right. Thank you, everybody. Love you all. I will see you guys in a few hours. Bye, everyone. Have a good one.